Welcome into the Patriot Broadcasting Project. I'm your host, Bubba Startz, and I'm joined today by Sergeant Kalina Hyche. Hyche, welcome to the
Hey,
show.
that's me. Thanks for having me.
I'm so grateful to get to have this conversation with you. Obviously, we connected, our foundation, Operation Combating Veterans Suicide, something that's near and dear to both of our hearts. But your journey into the military is so intriguing to me because it's not the typical one, and the job that you do in our military is very different from a lot of jobs as well. So really just wanted an opportunity today. I know we're going to be working together and we're going to get more to that towards the end of the episode as well, but want to get to know you a little bit better and introduce you to all of our fans here on the network. So starting out, would just love to get a little bit of your backstory in joining the military, and we'll kind of pick it up from there.
Absolutely. My name is Kalina. Most people know me as Sergeant Hyche, any and everything in between. So I am a public affairs specialist. Those that are in the Army know that as a 46 Sierra. I joined during COVID. I was one of those weird ones. I was about a year after my undergraduate degree. And first of all, everybody always asks, why did you join? What is your why? For me, it's a little different. So my ex-husband at the time was an MP, and he had joined and needed a battle buddy promotion. But he was like, there's no way you're going to do it. And naturally, what does that mean? I'm going to do it. So I looked through my long list of what I could do, all the little brochures, and I was like, oh, I'm only going to join if I'm a public affairs specialist. And so here I am, and I've completely fallen in love, and I currently serve with the Tennessee Army National Guard.
So you got in on a dare, essentially.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm so glad that I did.
And I don't know that everyone has that experience. I would say very few have a positive experience doing anything quite like that. But life has a funny way of putting us where we're needed. And I love what you get to do with your job. Being a storyteller myself and building a platform, and several of them now, for that exact purpose, it made the prospect of working with you extremely attractive as we try to get more of our active duty and veteran stories out there, because I think they're so impactful. And you've done some really great work out in the field. I would love for you to share maybe a couple of key moments for you and your service so far in getting out and really getting to know the boots on the ground, quite literally, and being with them when they are out on missions.
Absolutely. So I've done a bunch of different stories, everything from individual stories to unit camaraderie stories to just fun photojournalism. So some of my top favorite stories I've done, I can share a little bit about. My first one was doing a story on, his last name was Foliente. He was a survivor of PTSD. And it was in that I realized that the military can have storytelling, and it is not so much of weapons of mass destruction and all the potential of whatever. It was really getting to know that sometimes PTSD, and he's a civilian-based instructor at a military occupational school, and for him, he's still can't even walk on grass because he is so programmed that we just don't walk on grass. And you have, again, he wears similar, he will always wear button down shirts because your uniform buttons in the front. It's very simple things that you wouldn't think about, of little things that trigger a memory. I've done an interview and a story on a soldier who had brain cancer and is still serving in our state. Really getting to know his journey of how he's able to battle cancer and serve at the same time. I've done stories that I did a deployment feature on a unit that was deployed to the Middle East. So I got to see the in and outs of what exactly they were doing and finding upon searches, and get to tell not only how great that unit has done, but also highlighting soldiers of their experience while they're deployed. But then I do fun things. So I take fun photos from everywhere and in between of bilateral exercises to the most recent was DC Safe and Beautiful. So I had multiple photos used by Department of War, the White House, Big Army to help promote our soldiers and airmen.
That's pretty awesome. What a way, for you, and not that you're, being put in the least dangerous of situations all the time. Obviously, anyone who's going into a war zone and following these stories is serving. But what an interesting way to serve. Now, did you have a journalism background from your undergrad that kind of pushed you in this direction, or did you just like, this seems like the safest thing if I'm going to take this dare and prove my ex-husband wrong, that this seems like the path for me?
It's a little bit of a nutshell. So I'll never forget, in high school we had Marines come to my school, and which is funny because I went to an art school, so to think that Marine recruiters are coming to an art school is kind of weird. But anyways, definitely wanted the potential of being adrenaline. In high school, I was like, oh, I can be a pararescuer. That sounds so cool. Talked to my dad about it. My dad's like, do not ever join the Marines. Go join Navy or Air Force. And I was like, but the Army. And so I was like, you know what, though? Like, I am not a D1 athlete. Nope, can't do it. So I went to college and got a degree. I actually started as an audio engineering major and ended up switching to sociology. Which definitely opens your viewpoint to seeing the world in a whole nother light. And while I was in undergrad, I fell in love with marketing. So I actually had a passion for doing digital media and storytelling at a higher educational university level. And so because of that lens, when I saw all the jobs, first of all, I didn't even think public affairs is a thing for the military. And then I was like, oh, well, duh, who the heck takes all the photos? Probably someone who's in the uniform. So when I saw that was an actual description, I was like, oh, well, if that's a thing, why wouldn't I sign up for this? And so that's what in turn led me. And I went to my recruiter. I was like, this is it. This is all I want to do. And they're like, you could be this. I was like, I only want to be this. I will not sign these papers unless it is this. That is it. And yeah, so I think I waited 1 month and then I shipped out and did that whole stint back to back of basic and my annual training or my school training. So
incredible. And you are Tennessee Army National Guard, correct?
Yes, that is me. The volunteer state.
Yeah, well, and the beautiful state. I was actually born in Tennessee, so deep roots there. Born in Sewanee, which is down around Chattanooga. Yep. We used to take trips down there annually for my dad. My dad had gone to college down there. So love the state of Tennessee. I was actually just through there a few months ago on our tour there. So really appreciate you. Obviously, thank you for your service. I love what you're doing. Now, where are most of these stories? Are they only published on like the Army websites? And does your work get seen? Now you work, you're enlisted with the National Guard, but you mentioned that, some of your photos were used by the Department of War and the White House. So they have access to your works and can kind of, you rise above that National Guard level, it seems like, in the public affairs side.
Yes. So one thing that most people don't know, a lot of our work has to get approved for public domain. So I've got friends that work in the same job, like PSYOPs. You'll never see their work. I've got friends that are all over. However, we have a site. It's called DVids. Once you see photos, news, everything, it's public domain. Anybody can up and grab it. So my job also, I am certified to review content for those in my unit and across my state to ensure that, they all follow proper guidelines that can be releasable to public domain or they can't be. So I get to see a lot of the content of what we're doing before it hits you guys. So, but anybody can up and grab it and see it.
Right. Well, and I think that a lot of us who are not, like myself, that are civilians, that have never been exposed to that, no one that close to me, I've never had a reason to go look for it. Right. Until now, with our work with Operation Combating Veteran Suicide. And that's one of the reasons that, when we were able to connect the first time, that was like, oh, I think this is going to be a really awesome relationship, because there's so much education that you can give me and to our civilian population that want to support veterans, but that have no idea what that experience is really like. And it was a big impetus why, I kind of challenged you a little bit to, capture more of these stories and to have conversations with, veterans or active duty to the level that we can, to share the human stories inside of that, because I think it's very easy to look at our military and to think that everyone has the same journey. And that is not at all the case whatsoever.
Not at all. So, and I can say it's not at all, because I've worked alongside even several different active duty groups, everything from 5th Corps and another group as well that I'm blanking on. But even then, the active duty lifestyle versus National Guard, totally different. Our job is probably, I'm not going to say the most hated, but we're pretty hated. I've been dropped into Chechnya, and you see everybody in the field who's been sleeping in the fields, and here I come all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, hi, good morning. They're like, oh, here comes the pretty princess coming to take our pictures. It's like, great. And it's like, so it's definitely a different feel, versus, some people in the National Guard, they'll try to be like, oh, I don't want my photo taken, but can I have my picture? And so it's like, people are more than willing to tell their stories as long as you lend an open ear. And that's the most important part of it too. So.
Well, and I feel like just, we've only spoken a few times, but you are a very open person. You said it yourself that you can talk for days. I think that your personality lends itself to kind of breaking down some of those barriers with them. And I think that it's necessary, not just on the, on the side of, you can't just grab a civilian reporter and drop them into a war zone and fly them around on, military equipment and to do all of that. So you have to have people that are enlisted to do this job and to tell that story. But not everyone is suited for that. And I would think that most people, especially the men, right, they're not getting into the military for that reason. They're never looking at that job and like, that's me. Right. So I feel like you are very needed in that these stories need to be told, and they need to be told by someone who is inside of it and has that lived experience as well. And granted that yours is not the same, no one's is the same. So your experience and your ability to capture others' experience is so incredibly valuable. And I hope that, over the course of our friendship and our relationship working together, that we're going to be able to really shine a light into some of the darker corners of service. And yes, we all like to hear about successful missions, but even successful missions have casualties, and those don't necessarily have to be just deaths in the battlefield. Those can be scars that our soldiers are bringing home with them in the form of PTSD and anxiety and depression and all of the problems that lead someone down a path of thinking about ending their life, which is why we're so passionate at Operation Combating Veteran Suicide about digging down into the root causes and finding solutions.
Absolutely.
So, Kalina, I would love for you to, Hyche, can you tell us a little bit about, what you see for the future of your career? Do you see, your National Guard career being something that you do until retirement? Is it something that you're looking forward to, being invested in for the rest of your time? Or is this something that evolves into something else?
Gosh, okay. So this changes every year. For example, when I first started, because I hold a degree already, everybody in my unit was like, go officer. And I was like, no, I'm not a D1 athlete. And I was like, no, if I'm going to be an officer, like, we don't have a branch yet. We don't have a branch. Well, as of this year, 2026, public affairs is now a branch in the military. So as an officer, you can now branch into it. So now I feel like I have no choice. So I've been considering going what we call like green to gold, so going from being an enlisted service member to being a commissioned officer, and continuing hopefully for my little 20-year, if not more, career, just because I am so passionate about the storytelling. And I've had many opportunities of, if you would have told me that I would have my photo used by the White House, I'd be like, haha, you're funny. If you would have told me that a photo of mine got used as a Super Bowl meme, I'd be like, that's not realistic. It happened. The fact that I'm proud of my photo being used as a meme by U.S. Army, like, I feel like I shouldn't be proud, but I'm very proud. So it's a definite change. But I've had these huge milestones that I've hit in just my first 5 years of service, and now it's I see myself having to change more into truly looking at mentorship and truly looking at broadening that and allowing myself to step back a little bit and be like, okay, well, let's help push us into a better direction as well. With that being said, though, I will never leave my passion for storytelling. So I'm just, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I might just stay enlisted, but the officer is also calling for me because I can stay in my branch. And that's all I've ever wanted to do. So.
Yeah, and I love as someone who is a storyteller and has been passionate for the last 2 years about capturing other stories and building this archive of that, and really looking forward to you becoming part of the Scene Projects family to do this even more than what you're doing in your enlisted time, but being on the outside and able to talk to our retired veterans and being able to communicate with them and to continue telling stories and to telling stories that matter and that have impact. And I say a lot that, and I think it rings true for everyone inside of our organization, that we aren't money motivated, we're impact motivated. How is what we are doing impacting the future and impacting lives of the people around us? And I think that's why we perfectly align with what we're doing both together and separately, and that we have a bright future ahead of us of helping others and just finding our feet. And think of how many more people that you could help and direction that you could give and the mentorship side that you could as an officer. So I'm very grateful to the Department of War for creating that branch and this opportunity kind of presenting itself for you to elevate and to continue to do what you're passionate about inside of the military, which is something I think a lot of people don't think about, right? I don't know that passion and military often get put in the same in the same conversation a lot.
Interesting, but
Very rarely for people, I would say, in public affairs, that side of it, right?
Yes.
There's probably people that are very passionate about shooting big guns and driving tanks and those kind of things. I'm sure there's some of that, but to be on that storytelling side and getting that out there and being able to dig a little bit deeper. And, I hope that you do. I hope that you do stay and you do go after that officer and that you bring in new ideas. And I know that it's very hard to get through new ideas in the military can be challenging, but maybe because it's a new branch that they're going to be very open to some of these brilliant ideas that you have. And the fact that you have had your photos used by the White House and have become meme worthy, that you will there's some notoriety inside of that as well. So I'm just so proud of you. I know that we've only just started to get to know each other, but I'm really proud of the human being that you are. I'm proud that you are in our military and that we have incredible people like you that are serving our country, and that we can stand beside you as the Scene Projects and with Operation Combating Veterans Suicide to be an effective teammate to serve those who are serving and who have served our beautiful country.
Well, thanks. I was like, hey, thanks.
Anything that you want to add before I let you get out of here today?
Let's see. The only thing I could add for anybody that listens or watches this later, first of all, just, I think the most important part is that we always say, oh, well, so-and-so gets this opportunity. Well, so-and-so does this. And, they always say there's no door for me, but 9 times out of 10, we're only staring at one door in front of us, and that door might be closed, but look at a whole hallway down to the left and to the right that there are open doors. You just got to be nosy and, maybe clear a doorway, but then walk right into it. And at the end of the day, if nobody tells your story, again, like, how will we know what actually happened? And so that's the beauty of it, is I love to get to know those stories. So it's me.
That is you. And I'm looking forward to a long career of working beside you to share these stories with the world, and to be inspired by them as well. And I think that's why we do what we do. Sergeant Hyche, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for being part of the scene.
Hey, thanks for having me.